What did you say?
Victor. No. Oh. Well, the ID password.
That was looking good, but oh.
Oh my God, no.
Eddie?
Hello.
Hello.
You're muted. I am muted. Sorry, I've got a few things I'm just trying to sort, but I'm almost ready. Just got to plug in some headphones, and people are eating bananas. That's great. Cool. All right, almost set. Great. Speak of you, maybe. Cool. Can I just get a confirmation, Steve, Sam, and Alani, that you can hear me? Okay, cool. All right, awesome. Great. All right. Yes, so this is going to be probably the strangest Q&A that you've ever attended, mostly because we couldn't find anyone who was willing to chat to us at, be a moderator at this time in the morning. So I thought that we would just, the actors and myself would just sort of run it, and you can ask to chat to us at, go from there. Be a moderator at this time in the morning. So
you've got a loop.
Yeah, I've got a loop. Hold on. Just run it, and you can ask to chat to us at, be a moderator at this. I've got so many different programs open that it's insane, but that should have done the trick. All right, cool. Yeah, so my name is Michael Beats, and I'm the director of this project. And yeah, this is, as you can tell, it's all live, and I thought the actors did a fantastic job tonight, so congratulations, guys. I thought that was really, really great. Considering it's 6 a.m. in the morning, I think we've all drunk like 3 coffees. Now we've got so we've got all the actors with us. We've also got Victor Warmark with us, who also did the cinematography. So yeah, I mean, I think straight off the bat, I'd love to just open it up to any questions that anyone might have. I feel like that's probably the best way to do this. Feel free to ask questions in the chat, or on the YouTube page as well. Now for the YouTube page, if you click on the YouTube icon at the bottom of the stream, just the logo, then that'll open up a new page for the YouTube stream where you can actually ask questions in the chat feature. So yeah. All right. So we've got a question from Francesca. Hello, Francesca. How you doing? That's hilarious. So Francesca's asked, I don't understand, how on earth did you do that live? So yeah, so it's all live. Basically, but it's the first thing I should say is that it's not through Zoom, right? So we didn't use Zoom as our platform. Zoom is just for the Q&A. We use a professional broadcasting tool like you would for a TV show. And we've just had a month of sort of meticulous rehearsing, and I can show you the I can actually show you the page. So show you kind of all the shots and the scenes that we've sort of got lined up. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'll show you my computer screen just so you can show this and prove that it was live, because I think we've got some datas. But yeah, so like you can see these are all just sort of predetermined shots, and goes on and on and on. And that's the show really. That whole thing I'm cutting back and forth, and basically every frame that you see there is a shot. So that's how we're doing it. I've got all their streams coming into my computer, and we're basically just cutting back and forth. Well, I thought this could be interesting. Maybe we could get one of the actors to talk about what it looks like from their point of view, and what they're doing on their side. So yeah, whoever wants to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from my perspective, well, first of all, because this, I mean, obviously the first version of the show was done Australian time, so we do it at night time. Obviously, it's now just on 7 a.m. this morning. So last night, before I went to bed, I bought a whole big bag of black garbage bags and taped them all over my house so I could black out my window so my house was scary enough. But that was just a slight change for these shows. But usually behind the scenes, there's always pre-show. There's like a little preset that I would do, just setting up a few props, and my phone sits on my windowsill and provides a light source. And then during the show, luckily enough, because it is live, things can happen. Sometimes things go awry, but I think tonight was actually pretty good. But Michael can also talk to us during the show. Obviously the audience can't hear it, but sometimes in other shows, Michael has during the show been like, we can't hear you, like saying things to us. But then also during the scene, when you're on camera in the program, like you can see who's on the feed at any one time. So that's always helpful to know that you're on camera, but it can also be a bit distracting maybe from an acting perspective, because you are actually staring at your face. And you're like, do I have that many double chins, and do I look like that in real life? And that's really lame. But yeah, so that's kind of the process, I guess, behind the scenes. It kind of changes for each actor, but yeah, that's for me.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, if you look at today, there's a good example of a little something going wrong, and I've got no shame in sharing these things, because I think it is interesting for you as an audience to see the moments that perhaps didn't go perfectly, and that was really at the end there where Sam's Steve, the character of Steve, who plays the character of Steve, his audio just cut out. So his death scene, usually he's like breathing loud and screaming, and we kind of embrace these moments. It's just inevitable that something like that's going to happen every night, because at the end of the day, we've got 6 live streams in Australia where our internet speeds are okay, and all that's coming through my system. And I'm uploading all their content simultaneously. So, we kind of embrace that the imperfections of it, and the kind of glitchy look of it, and the darkness of it. And I think we're sort of well aware that from the start that the project needs to lean into that. But yeah, if there's I don't know if anyone else has any other questions, but here's one. Oh, cool. So how many times have you performed this show? I mean, live movie. This is our, how many have we done now? 6.
I think this is our 9th. Is it 9th?
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so nice. Well, why don't you tell us all about them, Pat?
Yes, this is our 9th show. We had our first 6 screenings. We had 3 consecutive days, so it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right? And then the same the following week. And then we had maybe like a 2-week break, and then we did 2 shows for the Perth International Film Festival, their couched online film festival. And yeah, almost every show there's little changes. Michael will give us extra notes. He'll try and make the script better, the movie better, and that kind of keeps us on our toes. So yeah.
So it feels like the first time every
Yeah,
time.
it pretty much. We got some new notes this morning at like 5 a.m. He was like, "All right, you got to say this."
Yeah, come on, I don't
it's
sound like that.
constantly evolving.
No, I'm mucking around.
Yeah, a good example of that is the scene with Nalani, who plays the character of Hannah. If you remember in the show, there's a scene where she's sleeping and her character sort of creeps up behind her and whispers something creepy in her ear. That we did last night and added it into the show today. So, you know, but that's the beauty of something like this, is that it can just keep growing and keep reiterating. And it has to. There's no, you know, because we're really testing things out here. We're trying to learn from what we're doing. So just like a theatre show, we should be trying to make it better every show, because we don't have the luxury of sitting in an edit suite and you know, and making things perfect. This is relying on live performance. Yeah, cool. So are you all locked down? And how did we rehearse? So yeah, maybe I'll let the actors talk about who's in lockdown and who's not. It's really just New South Wales versus Victoria here.
Yeah. So
Half.
yeah. So myself, Naomi, Sam, and Nalani are all in Sydney. So we're not in lockdown. I think we're kind of just watching Victoria with like a very careful eye at the moment. We're like, oh, we're just going to keep our eyes on you guys. But we're not in lockdown at the moment. I think pubs and clubs are open, but there's still like restrictions and so on that kind of stuff. But rehearsal was done via Zoom, because Zoom was the original platform for the show, but that kind of had its trickiness with editing and everything. We couldn't really do what we wanted to do. So then Michael, I think 2 or 3 weeks in, made a switch and found vMix, the platform that we're on. So we just rehearsed in our homes. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the main hurdle with rehearsal wasn't so much the acting and all that kind of stuff. It was just making sure that the technology was kind of, I guess, living up, because the main issue sometimes was audio, and then also internet connection, especially when you've got housemates who are watching Netflix or doing something or playing a video game using the internet. It kind of chews up bandwidth. So that was the main challenge with rehearsal. But yeah, so it was all done online.
We've also never met each other, which I think is pretty cool. Well, we did run into Eddie. Wow, I almost called you Jace. And that was it. So we've never actually met, which is crazy.
But we
I feel
built a
like-
really strong ensemble, which is really quite
I
amazing.
feel like I know you guys.
Yeah, that's true. It's been it began very strange and awkward, and trying to communicate with each other was frustrating. And while we were also using Zoom at that point, there were moments where I think we were all just going, I don't know if this is going to work. This seems almost impossible. And then once we switched and we found a better platform for the way we wanted to tell the story, then things started falling in place. And also we started, kind of forming a language around how to rehearse and how to perform together. So that I'd say about a couple of weeks after we were rehearsing, things started falling in place. And now this is, to me, the only way that we can do the show. If we did do this again, I would, even if we weren't in lockdown, like some of us currently are, I think I'd still rehearse this way, even if we could meet physically in spaces. It just feels like you have to do it this way, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
Vessi, I'm curious from you, and then maybe after this we can talk a little bit about the cinematography from Victor, because I think that is a really interesting development for the show as well, and something that elevated too. But yeah, Vessi, I'm curious to like hear from you in terms of what you found the most challenging in terms of the process.
I think it was just sort of embracing how different it is as a project. It definitely combines elements of theatre with film. So you still have the sort of minimalistic psychological aspect of film, where it's all about, you know, internal monologue and how you're feeling as a character, but also you're very aware of that it's live and that there's another set of people watching. And at the same time, you have to be your own crew. So we're all running around with lights at the moment. I've got one that's way too way too bright, but you know, we basically ran through all the scenes, all of us individually, and had the shots planned by Victor, who's our cinematographer, and we just had to, you know, try different things, different ways, and make it look as good as possible with his help.
Awesome. I think that's a good segue into perhaps asking Victor about how he, you know, how he came involved in the project, and also how, you know, basically your process and how we work together to make this thing.
Yeah, that was it was really a new experience to sit on a Zoom call almost like this and kind of guide people around their own homes, so I could get an experience of what they have to work with, because it really was just we just had to, oh, let's try this light and let's try this light and let's try this framing, and kind of that kind of took us on the road to finding what looks good and what was scary and what works, and worked a lot with doorways and kind of dark areas to kind of really make it feel like there was something looming over these characters. But it was absolutely a very new experience and a fascinating thing to light.
But it must have been hard for you, Victor, because I mean, obviously, your cinematographers like sort of full control, right? Like they like to work with gaffers, they like to have assistants, and just like, that's not perfect, that's not perfect. Whereas in this project, we've got the actors, you know, being their own gaffers, right? Being their own lighting people. Do you want to talk a little bit about kind of, working with the actors?
Absolutely. I think that's definitely something that's very, very different from a normal set environment. I think with this one, it was really, in some way, I think we kind of have to, especially since it's quarantine, even if we had a budget, we couldn't even get people to come and help these actors, really. So I think we kind of had to embrace it. And I think for a horror film, it's really, if anything, almost adds to the story, like, especially like you talked to already, that it is live, and it is sometimes it's unreliable feeds, sometimes it gets very pixelated, and sometimes the audio comes in and out. And I think if anything, it just kind of adds to the scariness of this experience, because it really feels like a normal call. You know, if someone would call you and be scared, I feel like that would actually add to how scary the call would be.
Yeah, great. We've got another question here saying, do you think you'll make a filmed version when this is all over, or does it only exist in the format? Yeah, that's I think it only exists in this format. I mean, you know, it's recorded, so we have it, but I think as it stands, for what we're trying to achieve, it only makes sense for audiences to watch this live. And you know, obviously, if like, you know, Blumhouse approach and they're like, hey, we'll throw you $1 million to make, you know, this project, I think I'd say yes. but you know, as it stands, this is what it is, and I think but more in terms of the format, I think that the format is interesting and something that I personally want to explore going further. I think there is an interesting mix of kind of film and theater in this, in that, you know, it looks like a film, it cuts like a film, it moves like a film, but then it yeah, definitely hinges on that sort of excitement of live performance. And there's an interesting sort of tension that exists between these two things. And if our audiences forget that this is live, when those moments of imperfections do happen, that just makes it even the more fascinating, I think. But yeah, that's I guess that's it. Naomi, I'll ask you a quick question because everyone else has said something except for you, and everyone has to say something before we log off. So Naomi, do you want to tell us a little bit about what it was like working on the project in terms of perhaps for you, because like, you know, you're in the beginning and the end, and you die pretty early on. So what does your performance look like?
Well, I really enjoyed my little bit that I had to do. It was exciting. It's a big job kind of setting the tone for the whole thing. So if I mess that up, then kind of potentially ruins the rest of the viewing experience for everyone. So, but I had fun. So
yeah, definitely. No, I think the tone that you set in the beginning is super important. And you did a great job. Everyone today, I just wanted to say thanks again to the actors. You know, I was really proud of today. It's not easy to wake up this early and perform. And we've got, I guess, one more question that we can end on, which is probably quite fitting. Was the cat the real killer? Yes, it was. It was the cat. All right. Well, if you have any more questions, it's time to ask. But other than that, you know, thank you so much for joining us. You know, for this experiment. Please feel free to share it with anyone. We've got 2 more performances left. We've got one basically this time on Saturday for the next 2 weeks. So the 1st of August and the 8th of August at 9 p.m. And yeah, thanks again. And we'll catch you all on the other side. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peace out, motherland.
Yo.
Just stay here for a sec.
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah.
Whoa, what's up? That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's fun. Good show. Good show. Good show.
Cool. Yes. Yeah, it was a good show. Don't you reckon?
Yeah. Felt good.
Oh my god.
I don't think it's that good.
My local coffee
sleepy.
spot's not even open yet. I can't like.
Oh.
What am I meant to fucking do?
We'll go back to sleep.
raining. I'm ready to go for the gym.
Go to the gym.
Yeah. I want to work out as well. I want to take a nap and then work out later.
Who the fuck are you people?
Oh.
Jesus.
Crazy people.
Adrenaline junkies.
Yeah.
That was an awkward Q&A.
I think you handled it pretty well.
Yeah, you
Just,
did
it was good.
Uh,
There wasn't
that was
many
good.
people on it.
No,
fine.
well, they're all on YouTube. I can see them watching on YouTube.
Do you know
shit,
how-
I'm still people can still watch this on YouTube. I should end the stream.
What's
Hold
up,
on.
YouTube fam?
It's like
Share it, YouTube fam.
I'm sitting here watching you guys talk, but then also watching it on YouTube simultaneously. I'm like not realizing that, and it's still up. I'm like I haven't. Okay, I'm gonna
All right. How?
log off now.
Okay.
I'm logging off the live stream.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Bye.
Cool.
Bye, live stream people. Bye bye.
All right. Thanks for